I can't even begin to tell you how very excited and anxious I've been about this YouTube project. I've thrown myself into it full throttle, doing all the research and putting together each week's episodes, writing the script, fact-checking, setting up cameras and lighting. It's a lot of work, but it's fun work for me. But then sometimes life throws you a curveball that you never saw coming. You see, I got really sick back in February. I mean, it was so bad that several weeks later, I ended up going to the ER. I was admitted into the hospital for 3 days, and I was diagnosed with a really bad bacterial infection that was causing a lot of discomfort. They put me on antibiotic IVs during those 3 days, and then they sent me home with oral antibiotics to take for 2 weeks. Once I finished the ones at home, I felt great. All was back to normal, that is, for a while. About 2 weeks later, I started noticing slight symptoms that were consistent with the symptoms that I had when the infection started in February. Since I had seen improvement, I thought that maybe I wasn't on the antibiotics long enough. After a week of trying to get a hold of someone at my doctor's office, I finally was able to go in and tell them, hey, something's not right. They decided they wanted to go aggressive with the infection this time and asked me how I felt about having a PICC line put in. By this time, I was so frustrated that I just didn't care what it took. I said, let's do whatever we have to do. And so they put one in and I left. But when I got into my Jeep, it suddenly hit me. This infection must be serious, especially if the doctor opted for this rather than more oral antibiotics. Well, this was me on the way home.
So I just got a scalp PICC line put in, and I'll be doing antibiotics for the next 6 days. It's kind of scary. You do what you have to do, right?
My name is Bobby, and I'm bettering myself today by being timely when something tells you that your body is off and doing what is necessary to stay healthy. So this isn't my first PICC line, actually. I had one back in 2019 for 3 weeks when I had pneumonia. And my mother, who was sick in the hospital not too long ago, went home with one, and I would give her antibiotic treatments every day. PICC lines seem to be getting quite common these days, so I thought I would do an episode about them, since there's a chance at some point that either you or someone you care about might have one. It's good to get a general idea of what to expect. First, let me define a PICC line. So PICC, P-I-C-C, stands for Peripherally Inserted Central Catheter. It's a long, thin tube that's inserted through a vein in your arm and passed through to the larger veins near your heart. It's used to deliver medications and other treatments directly to those large central veins. Doctors typically recommend a PICC line if your treatment plan requires frequent needle sticks for medicine or blood draws. A PICC line is usually intended to be temporary and might be an option if your treatment is expected to last up to several weeks. In many cases, patients with PICC lines are trained by their doctor's office on how to administer their own IV medications. That's what's happening in my case. My doctor wants me to administer the antibiotics once a day for 3 weeks. So when they insert the PICC line in your arm, it takes less than an hour, and it's usually done as an outpatient procedure, meaning there's no hospital stay. During the insertion, you'll lie on your back with your arm extended to the side. You're awake during the procedure. I wouldn't say it hurts when they insert it. They use some numbing medication that helps minimize discomfort. They usually insert it in a vein in your upper arm above your elbow. Once it's in, it's carefully advanced along the vein. It continues up in your arm and towards your heart. Once it's in place, the technician will tape it down and secure it so it doesn't come out. Now, in my case, I have 2 different ports to the PICC line. There's a purple one and a red one. In a lot of cases, there will be 2 ports. Usually one will be used for giving medication and the other will be used for blood draws. So when you have a PICC line and you're administering your own antibiotics, you have to keep in mind that this is a pretty serious thing. I mean, here you've got a direct line to your heart, and anything that goes in that tube or even touches the port of the tube must be sterilized. It's a scary thought, but I'm going to show you how it's done, or at least how mine is done. So in order to do the administration of medication through the PICC line, you're going to need the following items. You're going to need some rubber gloves. You're going to need some alcohol swab cleansing wipes. You're going to need 2 syringes of sodium chloride, basically saline solution. We'll need, of course, your medicine, And then of course you'll need a syringe of heparin. Now what I like to do is I like to lay everything out in the order that I'm going to use it. Of course the gloves will go first, and then the first thing you want to do is the ports on your PICC line, you're going to want to cleanse them and sterilize them. So you'll use 1 alcohol swipe, and then I'm going to inject the sodium chloride in, and then I'm going to alcohol swab the port once again. Basically you're going to swab between every step of the PICC line administration. So then after that I'll administer the medicine, then I'll swab again, then I'll do another saline solution, swab again, and then heparin. So my particular antibiotic takes about an hour, so I usually will get somewhere where I can be comfortable, like I'm going to sit in this chair so I can watch TV while it's doing its thing. So the PICC line is right here. I'm going to pull that off. And there's 2 lines. There's a purple and a red. The purple is the one we're going to administer the medicine through. The red, mainly they use for drawing blood. Sometimes if you have 2 medications, you can hook that one up as well, and you can be administering 2 at the same time. But we are going to use the purple one. So first thing I'm going to do is right up here, there's a little purple clamp. I'm going to unclamp that. And don't worry, when you unclamp it, doesn't mean blood's going to start gushing through your tube. No, it's scientifically made to where it doesn't do that. So I am going to put my gloves on. Latex gloves are just sometimes so difficult to get on. All right. So first of all, I'm going to take the purple port there, and take a swab, and I'm just going to run it back and forth all over that end for about 15 seconds or so. Get it nice and sterilized. All right. Now, one thing you can do, so this will stay sterilized, I usually will hang it over my arm so it won't touch anything. And that way, you know, it's still clean. Okay, so when you get your saline solution, first thing you want to do is you want to prime it. So to do that, and you want to make sure that the liquid's right to the top and that there's no air. So you're going to pull back on it a little bit, and then you're going to slowly push it up until you see like a first drop come out. And I see it right there. Once you have that, you're going to connect it to the port. You're just going to push it in and then turn counterclockwise until it stops. Once it's in, then you just slowly start pushing the liquid in. Now the weird thing about the saline is you might start to smell or taste something. It's like a metallic taste, and it's really weird, but that's perfectly normal. Now I didn't push it in all the way down. I pushed it to where there's maybe 1/8 of an inch. Again, just because you don't want any air, trapped air that might be still in here getting into your bloodstream. Then untwist it. And the first step is done there. So what did that do? That basically cleared a path through the tube to make sure that the medicine will go through freely, and just make sure that there's no clogs or anything in there that's obstructions that might keep the medicine from getting into your body. I'm going to swab again. So my medicine come in these little round objects here. They call those elastomeric pumps. Basically, what it is there's like a balloon-like fixture inside here, and they fill that balloon with the antibiotic, and it's clamped at the end. So once you hook it up and you release that clamp, the pressure of that balloon trying to deflate is what pushes the liquid into your body. It's pretty fascinating, actually. It's somebody told me it's NASA technology. And these are made to where no matter what position you put them in, it's still going to get in your body. It's not like the old IVs where you had to hang them like up at the top. These no matter where you put them, it's going to get into your body. I could put it on the floor and it would, still get in. I usually will just put it like on the desk or on the table next to me. All right, so I'm going to take the end, I'm going to twist it off. So on this one, there's also a clamp here. What I want to do is I'm going to unclamp it. Again, I'm going to prime it until I see one drop start to come out. So I'm unclamping. There's my drop. Clamped it again. And so now I'm going to connect it. And unclamp it. So like I said, it takes about an hour for the pump to empty, and you'll definitely know when it's empty because you can kind of see the core through that. When you can feel that core in the middle, then you know it's empty. So I'm going to set that right there. A few things to remember about a PICC line. You never want to get it wet. If you're going to shower or bathe, they recommend covering it up some way. Some people will take a garbage bag, cut the end of it, put their arm in it, wrap it around, and then tape the ends. My doctor suggested using cling wrap, like saran wrap, and just wrap it around your arm, and then of course get the ends. You never want to submerge it in water. So I would recommend taking a shower more so than a bath. And if you do take a bath, just be very cognizant of keeping your arm up out of the water. No swimming. Anything that you're going to be submerging it in water. No strenuous activity or exercising while you have the PICC line. You don't want to lift anything over 5, even 10 pounds. It could possibly cause the tube to come out, and you don't want to go through the whole hassle of having it put back in. So I would recommend just taking it easy. All right. Well, it has been about 45-50 minutes, and as you can see, the pump is empty. It's kind of shriveled up, and you can actually feel the core inside. So there's no more liquid left, so we are done with that. So we are ready to remove this from the PICC line. So I'm going to, first of all, I'm going to go ahead and clamp it closed, just in case. I don't know, I'll just do it anyway. And then I'm going to twist this off of the port. And I'm going to swab it. The next step is we're going to put another syringe full of saline solution in. Why is this? Because this is a long tube inside here, and we want to make sure that all of the medication got into the bloodstream and it's not just staying in the tube. So this basically just kind of gets the rest of it out of the tube and into your body. So again, I'm going to prime it. There we go. Twist it on. And slowly inject it. There's that taste again. And stop. All right. So we have one more step involved in this. I'm going to swab it one last time. There's one last syringe that this is a solution that's called heparin. So heparin is used to clear the path of the tube, make sure that there's no blood that gets clotted in there, and just keeps it clear when it's not in use. So again, I'm going to treat it just like I did the saline solution. I'm going to prime it. There we go. And this one really doesn't have much of a taste or smell or anything. I never really experienced anything with that. All right. And we are done. So last thing you want to do is you want to reclamp your lines here. So I'm just going to push that in and push that one in. And then your doctor will probably give you some kind of a little cloth like this. You just kind of put your arm through it. I run it up to right where the PICC line is going into the skin. And I'm going to basically just kind of put that part, keep it straight, and then let that other part hang over, and then you can just kind of turn this over. And that way it's just not like hanging off of your body and it's not going to get caught on anything. This way. Let's do that. And that's it. And it's really not that difficult. If you don't feel comfortable doing it, and I can understand that because it is a lot of steps and it's very important. You can always have somebody else do it. Just make sure that your doctor or somebody has trained them on how to do it correctly. You're basically putting your life in their hands and you want to make sure it's done right. Now, when they finally remove the PICC line, they usually tell you not to look. It's probably a good idea not to look. And then a second later, it's out. The first time I had one, it happened so fast, I actually didn't even feel a thing. So I go back to the doctor in a few days and I'll find out if I need another week of meds or if I'm done. And I know this was a strange episode and not a topic that I'd planned on covering, but I do think it's fitting. I feel as though I'm bettering myself by staying on top of any health issues that arise. I sometimes have to remind myself that I'm not 25 anymore, and things start to go wrong with our bodies after so many years. And I still have a lot of living to do, so I've got to keep this one moving and working. Thank you so much for joining me today. Truly appreciate it, and we will see you next time. If you like the content of this video, be sure to hit that subscribe button to be notified when new videos are posted.